This is Brian Meador from East Carolina University. You are listening to the Sports Objective, the official, unofficial podcast of the Pirates.
Welcome into the Sports Objective, very special show. Bubba is always very happy to have one of our favorite guests on.
Absolutely. Here we are 6 days from kickoff down in Charlotte against App State, and very excited to welcome back into the program the Executive Director of the ECU Pirate Club, Ryan Robinson. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, how we doing, guys? Hope y'all having a good week, and it's almost football time.
I'm very excited, Ryan. I know with everything going on, it's nice to not jinx anything, but so far so good when it comes to COVID-19, right? We're going to have a season. We're going to have the Rowdy Dowdy back with a lot of fans. It's an exciting time to be a Pirate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, not naive. I mean, the Delta variant and other things, it's around us. We're on a college campus, so we've got to continue, as we've told our student athletes over the last couple weeks, is we got to protect each other. After what we went through the last year and a half, really, I don't take anything for granted at this point. But right now, I mean, our plan is, and we'll open up the gates here at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium on September 11th, and hopefully don't shut them until about 50,000 are in here.
Ryan, are you doing all right, man? You seem tired. Are you good?
You know what, Kyle? It's been a long week. It's doing a lot of phone calls, getting ready for App State. We got the South Carolina, and just being. But I'm good. I mean, I've been running around all day. I've actually just got the phone. Bill Clark Holmes made that unbelievable gift to buy the remaining tickets to the upper deck. So I've been talking to a lot of military today, a lot of hospitals, and kind of first responders where those tickets are going. So it's been good. The biggest thing is I think, you think you plan everything out and then all of a sudden, bam, it hits and you're like, man, I didn't think about that. So we're trying to hit all those because when we start our home season, I mean, it's the biggest game in a while around here. I'll let you all be the judge of that, but I know for me, being here since 2019, it's the biggest game we've had in a while.
Yeah, I would say it's the biggest game since the North Carolina game. I think having an SEC opponent in here for the first time since 1997 is, I believe that's right, Bubba.
Yeah,
that's a huge deal.
Now, I'm fired up for Thursday. Don't get me wrong. We'll leave for Charlotte on Wednesday. We got a couple donor events, and I'm hoping probably going to see Harold Varner, but I'm hoping I don't see Harold Varner because that means he's in the tour championship. So really looking forward to going to Charlotte. And, I think we've got a great fan base. I know App State's going to have fans there. And hopefully, you might see 40,000 in Bank of America Stadium on Thursday night, and that'd be pretty cool.
How many tickets did we sell through the ticket office for the App State game?
Well, we went through our 5,000 or 6,000 really quickly. I think the biggest thing about the App State, and our fans have been great, it is a road game for us. Yes, it's being played at Bank of America, but obviously App State got the bulk of the tickets. But we sold about 5,000 or 6,000 quickly, and now I know a lot of people are buying it through, I think it's the Charlotte Sports Authority and App State. We are going to have a lot of Pirates. I've spent the last 2 weeks talking to donors and people on the phone, and there are a lot of Pirates going to be in Charlotte on Thursday.
Good deal. Ryan, obviously you had the position of I guess it was acting executive director of the Pirate Club for a long time. They finally pulled the trigger and made it permanent. Gave you the title of executive director. Did you know that was coming for a while? Did you think you were going to go back to what you were doing before and somebody else was going to get that position? And how did that process work out?
Well, we had some discussions. I didn't really know. I did not take the interim role. I will tell you, Kyle. I did not go on the interim role thinking this is what I'm going to do full time. We had a rough year. I mean, my year as an interim or however long it was. I mean, I would say 90% of that was during the pandemic. So a lot of that is just keeping everybody positive, trying to lead a group. We asked a lot of people to do difficult things when it comes to furloughs and pay cuts. Donors were hurting. Everybody was hurting. We still have people hurting. So I didn't even really think about it until kind of probably over the summer, beginning of summer. I started thinking, this is something I probably want to do. And then we have an unbelievable Pirate Club board. And some of those individuals that come to me is saying, "Hey, Ryan, this is what you need to be doing." And I'll be honest with you, I love it. And it really is kind of a new role because over the last year, we didn't really do a whole lot, but just because we're in a pandemic, you remember, we allow certain people to come to games. So I love it. I actually kind of think I found what I really enjoy the most because I love being around people and being around Pirates. Now, I will tell you, it's a lot more events at night. It's a lot more phone calls during the day, but those have all been great conversations.
Ron, I know for several years now. Bob, go ahead, man. I won't hog the interview.
Ryan, over the last several days, word has come out down at LSU that they will be requiring a vaccination card or a negative test within 48 hours. Up at Boston College, I saw earlier this afternoon, they're doing the same, except it's 72 hours. Can you provide Pirate Nation an update?
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, I'll be honest, Bubba, I have not had that discussion with anybody. I mean, the discussion we've had is, and we've had the same thing. I'll tell you what we tell our student athletes. Obviously being vaccinated is a personal decision. There are certain things that if you're vaccinated, you're not going to have to get tested. If you're not vaccinated, you are. So we're upfront about that. But we haven't had discussions of anything along that line. Now, the one thing we've been told is, this Delta variant and it's around us. And we have an indoor policy right now. The kids that are going to class, they're wearing masks. So they understand it. We've got to continue to protect each other just because now, we're going into our second year of this. And I think the student athletes better understand what's at stake. But I guess to answer your first part of the question, we have not had those conversations. Somebody asked me today, and I said, I don't even know if there is a sports team in the country that is doing mask outside, unless you all have heard differently. I know there's been some vaccination, but I haven't heard of anybody that's requiring mask outside.
Yeah, and if you want to wear your mask, wear your mask. I mean, this is the whole thing. Nobody's going to tell you can't wear your mask outside or into the stadium.
We just got to protect each other, and that's including in the stands and around. We got to be smart. We saw it with baseball. It worked. I mean, I say 50,000, as John Gilbert and I say, I'm almost too honest. We would have to really we'd have to push some tickets really hard over the next 2 weeks to get to 50. And I think a lot going to App State game, whatever happens there could result in some more tickets being sold. But I'm really happy coming out of a pandemic where we're at. Our kind of goal was kind of 13,000 just out of the pandemic, and we're past that. We're selling.
So we are over 13,000 seats.
Yeah, we're over 13,000.
All right.
So I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with our single game ticket sales. But the thing I'm really thrilled with is we have sold a lot of seats in that Town Bank Tower, and people have to put that's an investment, and they're investing in ECU athletics, the Pirate Club, and our football program. And that's pretty cool to see. I'll tell you today, I mean, we just sold 6 trade club seats. That might not seem like a lot to you all. That's a huge investment. When you can sell 6 trade club seats, that's a huge investment for the Pirate Club. So we've had a good day in that area.
Ryan, one thing I was about to allude to earlier, over the last several years, I mean, this is going back, 20 years or so. The Pirate Club numbers have been, in terms of membership, have been kind of not staggered,
Yep.
but stagnant, and no growth. What in the world can we do to grow the Pirate Club? What can we do to get? I've always wondered what we could do to get younger people involved sooner. I know we have the Student Pirate Club and the Young Grad. What can we do to I've had several ideas about are we reaching out to former players? Are we have such a large female alumni base. What are we doing to reach out to women? Just whatever we can do to grow the Pirate Club.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'd have to really look at the numbers. To say stagnant, and I'll tell you, there's a couple of things with the Pirate Club. When we have people, some of our largest donors, giving a large quantity of money every year. Now, some of that ends up in different buckets because now maybe you're buying a suite, but you're also giving to the annual fund. So it kind of evens out. Student Pirate Club, no doubt about it, the last couple of years has taken a real hit. Basically it was non-existent last year. I will tell you, we've hired, basically count me, and we got 5 new staff members in here that kind of go along with Matt, Big Guy Maloney. But I love our staff. We've got a new staff that is just energetic, positive, starting to hit a lot of the chapters. But I will tell you, the Student Pirate Club is a priority. I mean, we've already got our numbers now back up to about 2,500, and that's just going to soar over the next couple of weeks as we head into South Carolina. But you hit on something. We've got to really focus on the young grads and kind of cultivate those relationships, and that's something we're working on. One of the things, 2 things that we're doing that will come out in the next 2 weeks, we are bringing back kind of the Pirates Supporting Pirates program with local businesses. With a new twist, we're gonna have some more give those businesses more advertising, more publicity for what they do, and then we are rebranding the Letter Winners Club. So we are going to really focus on getting our letter winners back, and not just football, every sport. So that'll be an emphasis that right now Danielle Morin, who's a former swimmer here, she's heading that for the Pirate Club. She's one of our new hires. So I know I'm saying it because I'm the executive director, but we've got a really good staff right now. We're getting ready to take off.
Right.
Yeah. So
Ryan,
I'm fired up about that.
Ryan, I want to ask you as far as when it comes to the Pirate Club, one of the things that Kyle, I know, and I've talked about, and Bubba, is we love the Pirate Armada. Is there something else that we could do for those of us that are maybe middle class, working class people that, you could go to a local restaurant and we could have a speaker or something that doesn't have to be as fancy, and we would pay admission to get in, say, to see a coach, something like that on a regular basis?
Yeah, but I mean, I think the biggest thing anybody can do is just, ask people if they're a Pirate Club member, because that's what it's all about. I mean, we have got to grow our Pirate Club base. So, our scholarship bill, it's like Kyle was saying about stagnant, that scholarship bill goes up every year. I mean, right now we're probably looking at $9 million for each year. So we've got to continue to grow that. And yeah, Dave, I mean, I think that's what a lot of these chapters are doing. But you're going to see more and more events. Perfect example, the kickoff luncheon. We hadn't done that before. Decided to do it pretty cheap to get in. I mean, it was probably $300 a table, but it was about $25 or $30 a person to get a meal. And we thought going in, hey, we'll get 23 tables. We sold 36 tables and had about 400 people. So the excitement's there, and we saw a lot of young people. But we've got to do more events, more things to let our fans get around our coaches, our student athletes, but also our administration. But I will tell you, the Armadas, the only reason we haven't done the Armadas the last 2 years is because of the pandemic. We still have a lot of people that, and I get it, that are a little leery of those kind of events. But we are going to bring back, when we get through this pandemic, there'll be kind of a rebranded Armada. My dream is that we get, men's and women's basketball, Cliff and Coach Houston, we get us in an ECU bus, and over a 3 or 4 day period, we hit, 13, 14 cities. I think that would be really cool to do.
Ryan, one thing that I've talked about a lot with Dave and Bubba is how do you get people that aren't in Eastern North Carolina or aren't in North Carolina? Maybe you live in California, Arizona, Illinois, pick a state that are Pirates that would want to be involved in the Pirate Club, but besides just helping to pay for scholarships, they don't get anything intangible out of it. They you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the biggest thing we can do is we can bring awareness to the Pirate Club. We're not going to be able to reach every member, but I will tell you, I've spent a lot of time lately just calling members, talking to them. Sometimes it's just responding an email in a timely manner, calling. But those armadas really do help us reach the out-of-state groups or the groups maybe in Asheville and Greensboro. But it's on us. I mean, we got to be active. We have to find the Pirate fans. That's on us as a Pirate Club staff.
I got kicked out there, Ryan. I apologize for that. I'm using my phone to do this right now, and people keep trying to call me, and it boots me out of here. Let's apologize. I heard most of your answer. One thing, this is just me spitballing, being creative thinking. Not that you need my ideas. We got a staff to come up with ideas, but I was thinking, if I was wondering many times if there was any way we could. I had an idea for like a subscription-based Pirate Club membership where maybe you get access, free shipping from pirateware.com, or we could partner with somebody to do different things that would appeal to people that aren't in the area that don't really get anything out of parking passes and season tickets, but maybe would still want to join the Pirate Club.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I mean, one of the things we're really talking to that kind of goes in with our letter winners is some sport specific giving. So, if Bubba wants to give, $200 to football program or baseball, then we get that from a lot of people where it can go directly to that program. I think the most important thing is at the end of the day, our major focus has to be on scholarships for our student athletes, but we've got to support the individual programs. And I think that's where but we got to keep being creative, Kyle. I mean, you're right. We talk about it every day, even with the Student Pirate Club. What are we giving them? What's the benefit? This is a whole different generation now, so you better think about every day what you can do better.
Yeah, I have an old subscription-based idea. I'll email it to you. You can look at it and laugh, or maybe you'll like it. I don't know, but so many things going through my mind here all at one time. You got 100 questions I'm trying to get in. Mind's racing. But where are we at right now, just in terms of facility upgrades? I mean, obviously, the elephant in the room that everybody keeps bringing up is no indoor practice facility. Obviously, we're still trying to pay for Town Bank Tower. So it's I guess it's hard to move on to the next project when you're still paying for the last one. How far away are we from starting an organized fundraiser for a indoor practice facility?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know in terms of how far. I mean, listen, I've been around athletics, John Gilbert. We know it's something we need here. Now, I could probably list you off about 10 other things too that we need, but the indoor practice facility, it is a need. It's just we've had several practices this year that have been interrupted, but it's something we've got to do. But I mean, yeah, we're also paying for the tower. You'd like to have, I feel like we do have some momentum, but you'd like to have some momentum before you get into something like that. I know we have the support that we could get something like that done. You're also looking at where different things like that, but it is something we discuss. I mean, right now, one of the things we're doing, we're building a new swimming locker room. I know, the last couple of years being able to do these new turf fields has been big. So we're constantly looking at different things with the football program. Some of y'all probably haven't been in Ward in a while, but the graphics and things we've been able to do around the Ward Sports Medicine, or what I like to call the football footprint, where the recruits walk, as Coach Houston would say, that's happened. But Yeah, I mean, Kyle, it's something we talk about. I think we just got to have a pretty good, solid plan before you go out with something like that because, where we're at financially, I mean, we have to have that paid for. It's just like the new weight room that's coming on board out by baseball. I mean, that is paid for. So that construction will hopefully start in the next couple of months and be done by January, February. And that's a big deal for all of our sports to add that weight room. So yeah, indoor facility. I talk to Coach Houston about it all the time. I mean, it's not something that we shy away from talking about, but the reality is you got to have the money to build it.
One thing I wondered about, and I spoke with chair of the board, Scott Shook, the other day. I spoke with him about it. Down at Georgia State right now, or about a year ago, they may be finished with it now. They're building a new basketball facility, and they were putting classrooms in it, in labs, et cetera, to get money from the university side on the education side of things to help pay for it. Is that something that East Carolina could do? Could we build an indoor practice facility and then also build it along with putting classrooms or labs in it so some of that cost could be paid for by the university?
Yeah, it's an option, but I mean, the universities, they're our partner in this. I mean, like our university's been incredible to athletics. When we talk about deficit every year and things like that, the university's covering. Chancellor Rogers, before that, Ron Mitchelson, the university's been unbelievable. So I don't really look at it in that terms of have the university pay for it because they've been unbelievable partners, and they'll be partners when we decide to do something like this. Because that indoor facility, that's going to help all of our sports, whether it's in the summer or the winter, you can run and do different things. So they would be a partner in that. But, yeah, you can do things like that. I mean, just Kyle, I wasn't here, but, Minji's has a ton of classes in it.
Right.
Ward Sports Medicine has classrooms in it. So, yeah, you can definitely go down that route. I don't know if that's a route we would do with an indoor facility.
I got you.
Ryan, we know you need to run, but before we let you go, there are a couple of comments I wanted to get to. Scott Shook said, "How is Big Guy doing?" Tell him I'm asking.
Big Guy's doing good. I've seen him running around today. He's sold 4 trade club seats. He's been in the tower all day, and I'm looking at the picture of Scott Shook, which I didn't know I was in the car with him on Wednesday night. We had a big event at River Landing. And Scott Shook was probably the nicest dressed person at the event.
We also had a comment.
I don't know the person. I don't know the person that's in that headshot that's showing up. I've never seen that person.
We also have a comment from former East Carolina tailback from the Art Baker and Bill Lewis eras. Willie Lewis, Willie chiming in saying we have a group of former Pirates that are going to be in Charlotte. And we're looking forward to the start of the season. Go Pirates.
Hey, Willie, you need to join us at Truist Field. Another plug for Scott Shook, but join us at Truist Field. We're having a little tailgate there beginning at 4 o'clock. John Gilbert will be there, the Chancellor Rogers, but we are going to have a lot of Pirates there. Like, it's hard. Somebody asked me today how many Pirates. Like, I know we sold our ticket allotment, but you know how Pirates are. They found tickets. And that's going to be a pretty cool environment. So I'd love to meet you, Willie.
And I have spoken with Andrew Bodenheimer, a receiver from the Skip Holtz and Ruffin McNeil eras, also Jeff Carr, linebacker from the Logan era, and several others who will be in attendance with their kids and so forth. So looking forward to seeing a lot of Pirates at Bank of America next Thursday night. And Josh Thomas.
Most importantly, is the sports objective are they going to be in attendance?
Bubba's going to be there.
Absolutely. I'm 30 minutes away.
Bubba's audio is cutting out there.
I said I will be
saw
there.
Josh. I saw Josh's comment. He's right. I mean, we did send out the kickoff lunch to everything via email. So if you're a Pirate Club member, you received it. So I'm sorry you didn't receive that, Josh. We will do a kind of a better job discussing it. But that was a fun event. We did a raffle. We had 12 raffle items. I know Coach talked for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Ryan, we're having some technical difficulties here. People's audio is cutting in and out, but
That's fine.
Continue on with what you were saying.
But yeah, we had it was funny. Donnie Kirkpatrick. I didn't realize how funny he is. Him and Blake Carroll talked for 20 or 30 minutes and really kind of gave a good kind of scouting report on what to look forward to as we head into App State. So we'll continue. We're going to continue to do more and more events. One of the things we'd like to do is do more and more in the Carl and Connie Pirate Club level, right underneath the tower, probably an hour before the game. We are looking at different things to do there. Could have some special drink tickets that could be announced in the next week or so for people to come in there. Some other Pirates as you head into the stadium.
And you mentioned, Ryan, before we let you go here, that that the kickoff luncheon was sent out via email. I think a lot of people like me have emails that we don't check, that we just have had for forever, and probably signed up for the Pirate Club a long time ago on it. So contact the Pirate Club if you want to change your email account, make sure you get those notifications. And how active are we on Twitter and Facebook as the Pirate Club with putting that information out?
I know it's on Twitter, and we try when we can to get ECU athletics to help out when they can, and they always do to certain events. I know we have the Pirate Cup is coming up with Harold Varner to raise money for our men's and women's golf programs. So Harold will be in town the day before we play Charleston Southern. So I'm glad we're kind of get that back. So we've got a lot of different things going up. And one of the things we're going to start doing is kind of a weekly or biweekly email that kind of goes out to all Pirate Club members of what we have going on, what's available. But yeah, I mean, right now it is we're cranking up. We got a lot of different moving parts right now with getting seats out, making sure everybody's accounts are up to date, and moving forward.
Bubba, got anything else?
We certainly appreciate your time, Ryan. But before we let you go, tell folks, most folks know we're probably preaching the choir here, but how can folks join the Pirate Club? You can join at that minimum level for less than $9 a month.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you can do a payment plan till December at the crew level for $100, and you start really working on your priority points, or call the Pirate Club 737-4540, 737-4540. Go to ECUPirateclub.com. Reach out to me on social media. Reach out to our Pirate Club on Twitter, Instagram, and we just want everybody to be involved. It's going to take everybody to kind of get to where we can start competing on a financial stage with some of the other schools in our conference. And that's for men's and women's, for all of our sports. So we've got to continue to do it. We've got to do our part. I promise you, we're gonna work our tails off as a Pirate Club to do right by Pirate Nation.
We appreciate all you're doing, and look forward to seeing you down in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium next Thursday night as the Pirates hopefully get a big win over App State.
You got it, guys. Anytime you need me, just let me know.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Bub.
All right, Bubba, what's next?
I'm on my way to a football game, so we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit here, a little bit of a round table. Harold Varner III, HV3, obviously played very well last weekend. Didn't have the final round that he would have liked, but had a great opening round yesterday, and I think play was suspended today after he had played 13 or 14 holes. But he was 7 or 8 under for the tournament. But I think he was about 16th or 17th place. So doing pretty well, but he's going to have to improve if he wants to advance to next weekend. You had some folks going really, really low today, including a 60 being shot, 12 under par.
Okay. Golf. I have nothing to add to that. Go HV3.
Yeah.
Pirate.
I knew golf for you would have been like wrestling for me.
There you go. It is week 0 in the world of college football. There's some games tomorrow. Illinois, Nebraska kind of gets the spotlight. You got Hawaii, UCLA is kind of an intriguing matchup. New Mexico State, UTEP will probably be a competitive ball game. Former conference members, UConn goes out to Fresno State. What are you going to be watching tomorrow?
I'll probably watch bits and pieces of all of those games that you mentioned. Very intrigued with some of the stuff that's been going on, out at Nebraska with Scott Frost and that coaching staff. Not that it was that. Obviously, it was, against the rules. Not to make it more than what it was, but I'm very interested to see how they'll do against Illinois, who is obviously with their first game under a new regime, and former East Carolina offensive coordinator and App State offensive coordinator Tony Peterson will be calling the plays for the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, Brett Bielema returns to the Big Ten. It's an interesting situation to me at Illinois. I first looked at that and I saw the spread around 7 points, and so I think Nebraska will cover that. But you kind of look at Illinois and what Lovie Smith has done there the last few years, and he hadn't had a ton of success. But the kind of players he likes to play with, that pro style, kind of fits what Bielema likes to do. So Bielema will probably already have players in place there he can work with, and if that's the case, he's a good ball coach. So Illinois may hit the ground running. Hawaii, UCLA, Hawaii. Todd Graham, first year at Hawaii last year, went pretty well during the pandemic. UCLA is actually a 17-point favorite in that game. Chip Kelly's kind of in do or die time at UCLA. If he doesn't get it done this year, he's probably out in LA. So they do not.
That's a game. Sorry to cut you off, but UCLA, like you're saying, really needs that ball game because in
LSU week 2,
the second week they got LSU coming to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Sorry, week 1, week 2 for them.
Yes, and I think it's a big advantage for them, not necessarily over LSU, but it's a big advantage for them to play this game. Chip Kelly's offense is Chip Kelly's offense. What they've been running the last few years, they're not going to show anything to LSU by playing Hawaii. LSU hadn't already seen. So getting to get a ball game under their belt, I think, will help them be more competitive against LSU the following week. Excuse me. And then UConn, Fresno State. UConn has not played a football game in 2 years. They did not participate in football last year. So that'll be interesting to see what happens in that one. I would imagine Fresno's going to walk the dog on them. I think Fresno's about a 4-touchdown favorite. And then New Mexico State, UTEP. New Mexico State.
That's a big rivalry.
It is, yeah, very close together, those two schools. I don't know if people realize how close Las Cruces is to El Paso, but very close. And they New Mexico State played in the spring about 3 games this past year against FCS opponents. They didn't participate during the fall as an independent. Actually lost one of those games against an FCS, and so big. So UTEP's a 10-point favorite. You got Dana Holgerson, Lord have mercy, Dana Dimmel. People remember him when he coached Houston back in the Conference USA days. Former Steve Logan, played for Steve Logan in junior college.
Yeah, I remember Coach Logan being pissed off when Dana Dimmel got fired.
Yeah, Dana did a good job at Wyoming. This is year 3 for him at UTEP. I believe they were improved last year. So Doug Martin, head coach of New Mexico State, former East Carolina offensive coordinator. So Pirate fans might be interested in watching that one. I believe that game is online only on Flow Sports. But I love Doug Martin personally. He's always been super nice. So I'll be cheering for the Aggies.
2020 was obviously tough for everybody. That goes without saying. But it was especially tough for a program like New Mexico State that doesn't have a conference to fall back on. So they played in the spring. They played 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
They played Tarleton State and got beat.
Yep.
So Coach Martin, he had with that senior-laden team, I guess, about 3 years ago now or something.
Mm-hmm.
He took them to a bowl game, went 7-6, something like that, 7-6, 8-5. But I'm very interested to see how they bounce back. And speaking of another program out west that plays at 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night, I believe they're playing Southern Utah, San Jose State. Brent Brennan has done a tremendous job there.
Mountain West champions last year.
Yeah, winning the Mountain West. What a job with San Jose.
He's done a hell of a job. I remember when he coached his first game there 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember thinking they looked really well coached. And finally, last year, he had his talent level up enough to win when really nobody was paying attention. I imagine if you ask most people, they'll tell you Boise State won the Mountain West last year. Not the case. San Jose State won that league last year, and it'll be interesting to see if he can follow it up this year and have another good season.
Yeah, no doubt. And we appreciate so many folks chiming in on Facebook as well as YouTube. Let's go to some of those comments. Richard Allsbrook said the kickoff luncheon that we were discussing with Ryan Robinson before we ended that conversation was an excellent event that he was in attendance. So that's something that in the future. It's just tough. Me being 3+ hours away to get down there for that on a Monday, I'd have to take the whole day off work, and unless it happened to fall on a day where we're out of school. But would love to be there. I know some other folks as well who were in attendance that had a great time. Some of the information and predictions that are out there, and we'll do that in just a minute. Brennan and Johnny Gardner chiming in when we were talking about UTEP and New Mexico State and that rivalry. He said it's about 40 to 45 miles from El Paso to Las Cruces, and I knew it was something like that because when my dad and some of his friends went out to the UTEP game and the Miracle in the Mine Shaft, if you will, in 2007, he went to Las Cruces, or they went to Las Cruces and checked out the facilities and had a good time.
Yeah, it's right there. UTEP or El Paso is extremely West Texas, and Las Cruces is in eastern New Mexico. So, yeah, very close together.
And going back to Brennan's comments as far as talking realignment, Brennan, some of the things that have transpired in the last, I guess, 3 to 5 days, I'm sure you're well aware of the alliance and whatever that means. A lot of folks are, just trying to decipher that. They talked about scheduling maybe one game against each other a season, so you could have some interesting intersectional matchups. Whether it's somebody like Oregon playing Clemson or whoever, and so that's something to watch. You've also had the Pac-12 say that they will not be expanding, and they will not be adding any teams, and so we'll see. The Big 12, I'm sure you saw this, Kyle. They've apparently been in some sort of talks with BYU, and down through the years, that's always been something that has not come to fruition. A lot of times, just because of the Mormon affiliation with BYU and so many hurdles to jump over there. But we'll see this time. Obviously, different situation for the Big 12, down to 8 teams. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I've heard they've also talked to UCF. The BYU deal, I think it'll happen. I'd be willing to bet money on it. BYU, you probably just bring them in football only. You probably bring them in football only, and then the revenue situation is gonna, do you give them full revenue, or do you being football only, do they get less revenue? That's probably being discussed, but I think it'll happen. I think it's good for the American at this point. It looks like the merger won't happen, so the more teams they can take that aren't in the American, the better. If they're going to go back to 12, you figure we're going to at least lose 2. So if they're going to 12 and BYU comes in, that leaves 3 more spots. That means the American at most would lose 3 teams. The teams that you keep hearing are BYU, Boise State, Cincinnati, and UCF. If we lose just 2 schools, the conference is still in good shape, particularly if the playoffs expand to 12.
Now, Kyle, what did you see about UCF? Because I got an alert on my phone, but I've just been so busy I hadn't had a chance to read it.
That yesterday it was a CBS affiliate out of Orlando was reporting that UCF had been contacted by the Big 12, and there was discussions going on. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Again, with the merger looking like it's not going to happen, if we could come out of this only losing 2 schools, I think the league's still pretty solid. And who do you replace them with? We would be at 9 members then. So you're probably either going to add 1 to go to 10 or 3 to go to 12. You could go back to 11. if we lose two members, if I'm the American, I'll probably reach out to Army. There's some value there if you bring Army into the league with Army Navy. Maybe you could get that Army Navy game as part of the TV contract. As both of them being league members, that game would have to be rescheduled. You couldn't play it at the end of the year like they do now if it's a conference game. Another thing that could be interesting if you lose two and you bring in Army, and then at that point Army Navy are in the league. Air Force hasn't been very happy. Then you could have all three service academies in the league, and you could really do some cool things with the American branding, and you got some value there if you have all three service academies in terms of television revenue, where we might not lose any money, even though we lost UCF and Cincinnati. It'll also be interesting, Bubba, to see how it plays out with Houston. You heard their color analyst, former player, can't think of his name right now. You'll remember.
Ted Pardee.
Yes, he alluded to the fact that after 2016, when Houston was kind of teased with admission into the Big 12 and it didn't happen, that there was some the University of Houston reached out to a lot of state legislators in the state of Texas to kind of tell them, hey, look, if the Big 12 expands again, that Houston needs to be a part of it. Now, the only state-funded school that's going to be a part of that Big 12 expansion vote is Texas Tech. TCU, Baylor are independent, or not independent, but private. So I don't know how much pull state legislation will actually have, but it'll be interesting to see if Houston ends up working themselves into the mix of that conversation for expansion.
Yeah, I mean, what you mentioned as far as Army and Air Force, that's definitely very intriguing for obvious reasons. That Army trip, that's one of my favorite all-time venues that I've been to, probably the favorite outside of obviously just ours. I mean, it's unbelievable, just the venue there in West Point. They're renovating Mikey Stadium. I know I shared that with you several weeks back when I came across it, and that's something, if you ever have the opportunity to go watch East Carolina or whomever play against Army up at West Point, I encourage you to do it. It was ranked, I think, number 2 or 3 by Sports Illustrated, behind only Yankee Stadium and Augusta National as far as sports venues, and I wholeheartedly agree with that ranking.
Yeah. If that were to happen, Bubba, and again, this is just my spitballing. There's no rumors of this, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Could you imagine, though, if some of the coaches in this conference having to play 3 flex bone or wishbone teams each year? Good Lord.
Yeah, and there'd be a lot of defensive coordinators that would
resign.
That would be burning the midnight oil for that. Or hey, maybe
make it easier. Maybe playing them 3 times,
seeing it more frequently, and make their job a little bit easier. Not easy, but easier.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I do think it's something that if the chips fall in that way and the American loses just 2 teams or even 3, I think it's something that the league should look into. I think the good news, if you're East Carolina and you're getting left out without the merger looking like it's going to take place, is if BYU's in the mix, we won't lose 4. And that was my fear, is that we were going to lose 4. So if we can keep it to 2, I think the league's still really solid.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Do you have anything else before we go ahead and wrap this up?
No, just looking forward to getting college football going this weekend in a small way with week 0. And then obviously Thursday night is game week officially. App State's Thursday night. We're less than a week away. So it's hard to believe.
Kyle, you still got me? Kyle, can you hear me?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Udon Cheek, assistant track and field coach at East Carolina University. You are plugged into the Sports Objective Podcast. If you are a fan, you are plugged into the right place. And if you're really a fan, you will share that link. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode. Boom! Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Udon Cheek, assistant track and field coach at East Carolina University. You are plugged into the Sports Objective Podcast. If you are a fan, you are plugged into the right place. And if you're really a fan, you will share that link. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode. Boom!